Okay, class, here's our opportunity to look at the graphing calculator setup and completion for one of these lines of best fit, scatter plots, direct variation, and all of these kind of fit together where we're making a line. So it's one thing that I asked you last night to estimate, but this time we want to actually calculate the spot where the line is best fit. So we have some statistical things that we can do. The good news is the calculator has all of these statistics formulas worked out in its memory, so we don't have to go through the painstaking process of adding and subtracting all the different ranges. It's a nasty formula. Trust me, I did it back before calculators. It's not pretty, but we're going to get you through it and show you that the calculator will show you what that R value is about, how good a fit it is to the trending line. All right, so let's take a look at one of the problems from our future homework, possibly, to be number 19 from the text. So in number 19, you see we have X values, which will be your horizontal inputs. You have your Y values, which are your vertical range, it's your outputs. So we have our input and output already set up, and all we want to do is, first thing to do is make a scatter plot of it, so we can actually see what it looks like. So to build a scatter plot, the topic is found under Stat. You can see Edit is the first option here, option 1. So we're just going to select Edit. It's going to allow us all these lists. Now, if you're borrowing someone else's calculator, or maybe there are numbers in there from something else you experimented with before, all these lists can be cleared pretty quickly. Just hit the up arrow, all right? You go up there, and then you can hit Clear, Delete, and it will actually delete them, all right? We don't need to do that. I'm just going to, or you can just overwrite it actually. So you can just type right over top. So looking at the numbers over here, number 19, the X will always go in the first T-chart, just for simplistic sake. For us, it technically doesn't matter, but just causes more work down the road. All right, so X, 78, entering these numbers, 74, just typing them in, hitting enter, 68, 76, 80, 84, 50, 76, 55, 93. So while I'm doing this, I'm expecting you guys are probably doing the same thing. Use the right arrow key, takes you right over to the next column, right to the top. Now, of course, these all have to be paired. They're ordered pairs because they're in the chart like this, so they have to match. Whatever it says 78 here has to match our 5.1 over here. And then 5.0, 4.6, 4.9, 5.3, 5.5. If one of these is just off, our whole diagram, everything we've done is going to be bad. So we want to make sure we have all the data entry is correct. All right, so all the data entry is good. Double check. Yeah, it looks good. All right, if it's not looking good, you'll let me know tomorrow, all right, or another day when you get back to me. All right, so at this point, we have it in there and we want to plot this. So what we're going to do is you can see a command here called stat plot. So second, y equals gets us to the stat plot area. And I've already turned the plot on earlier, but we're going to go turn this one on, number 1. Just hit enter. Ears might say off. Whichever side it says, just make sure it's on. The option is all the dots, scatter plot. We can also graph other things like histograms and box and whiskers and other things. Calculator is pretty powerful. Your X's are in L1, Y's are in L2. Right, so if you didn't type them in those same columns that I did, then you'll have to change these. See me later. Mark, and of course I get to change mine's a color edition, so I can pick a color for my different stats. I'm going to leave it blue. All right, so leave all that on settings, and then I want it to fit on my screen. All right, if I hit graph at this point, who knows what it's going to look like, but I want it to fit. So I'm going to go to zoom and choose option 9, so it's going to fit the stats on the screen. So zoom number 9, and there's my statistical scatter plot. I'm going to pause the video now to let you catch up and do your best. Okay, class, it's been a couple periods, not that you can realize that because I think it probably was just a couple seconds to that transition, but I'm back, and where we left off was we just stat plotted this scatter plot that we have in our stat XY chart. So in here, you can see that it kind of follows a linear formation, and it's pretty darn close to being all straight line, but you definitely can tell some of these points will not land on the line when we draw it. And we're not going to zigzag the line through here. That's not a line. zigzags represent ups and downs, and that is not linear. So therefore, we have to come up with a straight line that goes through these. Now, just to show you that these aren't mysteries, just mysterious points, hit trace, and then we use the arrow keys on the keyboard. So you can see you can go through all the different points in your chart. It bounces around. It looks like random, but they're actually in order of the order that you put them into the chart. So right there, that's the last one we put in at 93, 5.8. That's 55.3.9, 76, 5.0, 50, 3.7, 84, 5.5, and so on. You can see them over here as I'm reading them off. You're just going through the list. Right? So you can trace it. You can see them. It's pretty cool that they all set up themselves like that. That's nice. All right, so now we want to get to the point where we want to get the line of best fit. So we're going to use the calculator to do all the statistics, the heavy statistics lifting behind the scenes. So when we go into the stat window, we're going to go into the calculate menu. So to go to the calculate menu, hit the right arrow, and in here there's a whole bunch of different ways that we can do calculations on that list of statistics. The one we're going to be interested in is the line of best fit. We call it linear regression. Now notice linear regression has two forms, number 4 and number 8 in the list. This is the one we typically see, though we would get the same answer for this one. It just puts it listed second. We're going to leave it here. We're just going to go to option 4, linear regression, ax plus b. So it's like mx plus b, but it's ax, like our direct variation variable a. So you can see it being used here. So we'll scroll down, or you can hit option 4 right on the keyboard. So if you hit either one, hit enter or 4, and it's going to bring you to this menu. All right. So I'm going to ask you, where's your data? Because we have all those lists to pick from in the calculator's memory. It assumes L1 and L2 because that's the most obvious choice for most people. So it defaults to those, and if you agree to it, just hit enter, and it moves you to the next one. Hit enter, moves you to the next one. Frequency list, leave that alone. I'm not worried about a frequency list. That's a statistics issue, not an algebra 2 issue. All right, next one, store regular equation. This is probably the coolest thing ever. It's going to find the line of best fit. It's going to give you the A value, and it's going to give you the B value. But here you have the option to actually store it immediately in the y equals area so we can graph it. So to do it, you don't need to put something there. We can leave it blank, and it will calculate it on the next option. You can see calculates down here. We'll just calculate. But if you want to store the equation and graph it then eventually, this is where it gets cool. So you can skip ahead if you don't want to do this, but I'm going to show you right now how to do that. So under the variables area, we need to tell it where to store it. Well, we know if you've ever been in here before, you have y1, y2, y3, y4, y5. All that stuff is in there. So that's what we need to grab. So we want to store it, let's just say in y1, because it's the first one in there. So we hit variables, and then this allows us to go, oh, that's interesting. But more importantly, y variables. The functions, because that's the method we're in. We're functional math. It's a function. It's linear. Hit enter, which function you want to store it in. So we just select option 1 there. Just hit enter. And now we're going to be storing in y1. All right. Go down to calculate. It does its work. And it gives us our value for our A. There's our slope. And there's our B value. All right. Sweet. So the ultimate question is, what does it look like on a graph? Now when I hit the graph button, because what did we store in y equals? We hit graph, and there's the actual line of best fit. So after it's graphed the line, of course you might not have copied that down because I see in the book it's asking you for the actual equation, or you might need the equation. Just go back to your y equals. There it is in crazy form, right? With all the decimal places to be as exact as possible. You can see it in this edition. The color edition also gives you colors for all the graphs, which is kind of cool. All right, so if you're in there, you got to scroll right. You can get it. That's one way to get it. It's probably the easiest place to find it. If it wasn't so long, it'd be easy. Again, for me, just go 2 to 4 decimal places is fine. In trig classes, I always like 4 decimal places because of order of just for significant digits. But in any case, for math, you can go anywhere 2 to 4 is fine, I guess. guess. Two decimal places to 4. The last piece of this, the other place to get it is if you just quit graphing mode altogether. So second, quit, will take you back to the regular screen. You're like, wow, it's blank. Well, not necessarily. If you scroll up through your history using the up arrow, it takes you through the history. So you can see I've cleared all this in my history of something I've done. Linear regression is the command that we did. So if you just scroll on it again, hit enter, it brings it back up as a command to do, and it brings you back to your screen. So it's another way to get that value. Okay, one last piece of the puzzle. Remember in the section we were talking about the R value, the regression value, that it can be anywhere from -1 to 1. All right, so if we looked at the graph of this, what do you think? Closer to -1 in 0, or is it closer to +1? If you said +1, you're good. That it is close. It's very close to a +1. Remember, +1 is 100% on. Now, it's not 100% on. You can see there's some dots here above and below the line, but it's darn close. It's definitely bad. It's closer than 0.5. Well, let's find out what that number is. We can actually turn on the calculator to do the regression value, the R value for us. To do that, we need to go into a special setting in the calculator. Under Apps, you're going to go down to Diagnostics. If I can find them. All right. And for some reason, my calculator doesn't have it. So I'm going to go take a break and find out where it actually is. I apologize. Okay, sorry class. I found it. It was in the, I thought it was in an app, but it's actually in the catalog, and I didn't take long to remember that. But anyway, second catalog is above the 0 command. We go down here to the D area, right, and scroll down. You'll find Diagnostics. Again, there's a lot in here. You want to do diagnostic on. So just turn it on. Hit enter. Once you select the command, it'll say done on your screen. And then we just do our stat again. So we scroll up, get to our linear regression, select it, say yep, please do that. And now it gives us our R value. Notice the R value, how close to the 1 it is. It's 99%. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.